All right, guys, we're live. My notifications were off today. Welcome back. Welcome back to our weekly live feed. As you are logging on, say hi. And as always, if you'd like to come work with me, SeansControlCuties.com is where you got to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing. You can also find me on Stage Ready by Sean on Instagram. Say hello when you log on. Type into the chat. Tell me where you're coming in from. And while we are waiting for notifications to go out for people to get on, let's shout out our sponsors. We have Prozis as one of our main YouTube sponsors, so check out their website, and Cuties10 is the code to get you lots of savings. They actually have a special going on right now where you get free product if you use the code, along with the actual discount too. So check them out. They do supplements, they do food, they do activewear, they do clothing, that's activewear. They do equipment, all sorts of things. Check them out. And then we've got Liquid Sunrays. Liquid Sunrays is also our YouTube sponsor. If you need anything for your competition tanning, that is what they do. So code Cuties15. I know we got some people on here. Say hi. We got no comments in there. We got a comment on Instagram. Say hi. Cuties15 will get you a discount on all of your tanning needs with Liquid Sunrays, whether it's at shows or hair and makeup or whatever you need. Going to give it a few more minutes for you to get on. Our QR code up at the top there is the website, so you can go to that to work with me. If you need a suit, if you need posing, if you need hair and makeup for your shows, or all sorts of other goodies. We got Colorado in the house. Chicago from Instagram over here. I'm going to log off of Instagram in just a second. So if you're logging on Instagram, the experience is much better over on YouTube. We have screen shares and pictures, all that on YouTube. So head over to the YouTube channel. And I'm going to do that now. Get this out of the way. Move that over here. All right. Okie doke. So tonight we're going to wrap up this weekend's shows. We're going to talk a little bit about this coming weekend shows. Not a lot because they're European and Asian shows, so we don't have a lot of information on the competitors, but there's some really familiar names, so we are going to shout those out a little bit, talk a little bit about who will probably be in your top over there, that kind of deal. But let's review our two shows this weekend, which were from Moscow and Spain. That's where the other one was. Yummy, no, something or other. I think it was Spain. Was that right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Spain. All these shows start blending together after a while here. So let's see. There we go. Now we're getting them to pop up. What's up from Texas? Okay. Whoop. Ah. Okay, we're gonna do Nutriyummy Pro. I believe this was in Spain. Am I right on that? I don't even know. I was laughing at the name though. It made me laugh. So we're going to go over the top 5 in this particular show. Now, I'll be honest, I did pull up their photos, but I have not even looked at them yet. So this will be our first time going through them together. I kind of like doing it because then you get my unfiltered opinions when I go through it the first time with you. So the European standards, as we know, are a little bit different than the US, and that's just because of the competitors showing up. However, they are catching up as we go along. So Evie did win this one. mentioned that she would initially be your front runner going into this show, but she didn't do great the last show she was in. So she was a little off. But I did take a look at her photos, and actually she came in and did a few things that I'm going to specifically point out at this show that were a lot better than her last two. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's start with fifth place first. So fifth place is Inez. And I think we had mentioned her during our preview, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I figured it was a supplement company, but it just makes me laugh regardless. So looking at this girl right here that we're talking about now that came in fifth, Inez. Let's replace that with this. Well, and of course my screen share is going to go slow tonight. There we go. We got it. Okay. So first thing I can say is that, the lighting might be a little bit funky, but I'm not a huge fan of the makeup. It looks like I'm not a huge fan of that lip and the eyes and stuff. Again, it could be just the lighting from the photo, but that's just the first thing that pops out at me. To me, she looks very muscular. Again, this is kind of European standard. It is what it is. Her legs are borderline, almost like, okay, we need to decide if we're going to stay in bikini or if we're going to start growing and try to go to wellness. She's not wellness, but she definitely, to me, looks a little bit more on the thicker muscle-wise circuit here. Fullness is nice, conditioning is nice, all of that. She's just definitely got some muscle on her, right? She's got some muscle for sure. Overall pose, I'm not mad at either. I think she did a pretty decent job here with the front pose. Yeah, my screen share is going slow tonight. Holy crap. Okay, sorry guys. It's gonna be one of those nights. When we look at her back pose, here we go. Again, I think her conditioning is pretty good here, but she just looks stacked to me. Like, that's some thick muscle, right? Thickness through the legs, through the shoulders and the back and everything too. I'm not really mad about this particular pose either. Her toes look a little funny to me. They're pointing inward. So I think she's doing that on purpose to hide her legs. That would be the indicator that she's trying to hide her legs right here to me. And I think that she's specifically not opening up her back on purpose, because I think she's probably got a lot of size back there too. So I would guess she probably just needs to be careful and streamline her physique a little bit, probably bring her glutes up a little bit. And again, not get any thicker anywhere else. That's the main thing I would say in this particular situation here. Next up, we have Jess. So we talked about her last week. She did win a show already, so she is Olympia qualified. I hate this suit. I'm just going to be the first one to say it. Friggin' hate this suit. Oh my goodness gracious. It's got to get rid of those big jewels, right? I'm being obnoxious tonight. Sorry, guys. A, the suit doesn't fit her. The top is too small. She's got a lot of underboob coming out. B, she's got these big chunky crystals on there. I don't know what's going on there. Now, we talked about her last week being a little bit over conditioned. I see that here even. She's got quite a bit of vascularity in that upper body. Again, more on the muscular side, which is what we're seeing in European competitors in general. But I would also say that her conditioning here is too hard. Let's take a look at her back shot. And as we turn her to the back, it's really obvious that her conditioning is too hard. She's got some really, really defined drops in her glutes. A, she's really overposing this. She's arching a lot. You can tell her waistline is pretty thick through the back here, and she's arching probably on purpose to try to make that look a little smaller. But in the process, what she's doing is she's showing this deep, deep conditioning here. That's just too much. Arms and everything, all of this needs to relax up here, and she just needs to bring some more fullness to this. She just, again, over the line with muscularity and conditioning here. So it's not surprising to me that she's in fourth after probably winning another show where maybe she wasn't quite as hard. I don't know. I don't remember what show that was, what she looked like at that particular show. Hair is too long here. It's hitting the top of her bikini. So there's just a lot of little things here. I feel like she's over posing this, and if she posed this correctly, she might not look quite so hard. But because she's pushing so hard, we see those really tight tie-ins, and that's just too much when we're talking bikini. Next up, we have Carrie. So Carrie has been knocking at the door with these second places the last few shows. This particular show, she was in third. Again, I think that her biggest issue, there's two things that I think she needs to be careful of when it comes to her overall look, is her legs and her waistline. She's got some lower ab distension here, you can see. I know she has some issues with PMDD, so maybe she was having some problems with that going to the show, or maybe her carb up went wrong, who knows. But this is definitely a little bit distended here. To me, her lower body is really taking over in this balance. Her upper body is fine. I think her upper body is actually fine. I just think that her lower body is just too thick muscle wise, and when we're looking at the quads and things like that. So I'm guessing that's probably why she got knocked down a little bit. I think her conditioning is okay. But again, this distension probably didn't help her at this particular show. She's been competing a lot. I don't know if she's planning on continuing to compete or if this is the last one she's going to do. Of course, my screen share is going slow today. Sorry, guys. Let's go to the back pose. So let's get that up. There we go. Just waiting for my computer to catch up to me. So glutes are fantastic from the back. Conditioning is pretty good too. This is not as good as she was last week. I feel like her body's looking a little bit tired to me. It's not that her conditioning is bad here. It's not. I just feel like it's almost like a film of water over her from the back. Kind of the same thing we were talking about with her lower ab distension in the front. To me, this just looks like she needs to take a break. Just needs to take a little bit of a break here. That's about all I can say here. I think that she's got a phenomenal look. I think that she's just done a lot of shows, and I think it's kind of showing in her physique at this point. So I don't know if she's planning on doing anything more. But if I was her, I'd take a decent break at this point. Chantel Hall is in second. This particular look, while I'm not a huge fan of the front pose, it's a little off, a little bit awkward. It's not bad, but she just needs to kind of relax it a little bit. This is more in line with bikini standards muscularity wise, which makes sense as to why she took second at this point. She's a little bit more streamlined, not quite as thick muscular wise. One thing that stands out to me when I look at this particular front pose is she's got a lot of chest up in here. This looks really like, I don't know if this is just like, if she could relax this a little bit, I'm not really sure. But that's the one thing that pops out to me here. The rest of her front pose looks pretty good. She needs to relax her arm. So just let it hang. That's what I was saying. This is a little overposed. So she just needs to relax a little bit. Let's get her to the back. I'm just going to keep the one screen up since it's going slow through the switching. So from the back, again, muscularity-wise, she's more in line muscularity-wise with bikini standards, but she needs more pop to her glutes. She needs more muscle to her glutes, right? I feel like this conditioning and the amount of muscle that she has is pretty good. We're not quite as tight through the hamstring tie-ins as we were talking about from the girl in, fourth place. Not quite as tight. Got a little bit less of that separation. But she just needs a little bit more size on her glutes to really get them to pop out, because when I look at this, I see legs more than anything else. Upper body, she's got to get some mobility work done. She's all over the place with this upper body up here. If she could open this up and kind of pop her shoulders out a little bit more, I think that would definitely be beneficial for her, but she's really yanked and jacked up. And I think, again, that comes back to her over posing in that front pose. probably is contributing to a lot of this imbalance up top in here. But it does make sense why she took second, being that her muscularity is more in line with the criteria than the other girls so far. Conditioning, I think her conditioning is a little bit too hard. But again, it's okay because her muscularity isn't that over the top like some of the other girls in this lineup. And then Evie did win this. So I wanted to point out a few things with Evie. Now, we just may not see the actual first pose that she did, but if you guys saw the behind the bikini that I put up, I talked about in her routine how she was hitting a wonky pose as her first pose going on stage. And she didn't do that in this show. I was looking at all of her photos and she did not hit that pose at all during this show. So that's great. The bikini is a lot better with the red versus the pink. Overall glam look is a lot better. She's a lot fuller here. Like, this is much better conditioning. She's not as hard as she was in some of these previous shows, like at the Olympia. I'm not a huge fan of her foot placement in this shot. Okay, she was kind of transitioning into it, I think. This is better. This is a better front pose right here. So I would still probably take this hand and push it back a little bit, but this is much, much better than what she was doing at the last two shows. So I definitely think this is a huge improvement. But as we go through these poses here, she never comes straight on to the judges, which is fantastic because she was doing that all through the Olympia video that I shared on the last podcast I put up. Now, great conditioning here, nice pop, nice fullness, not too hard. I still think she could probably be a little less conditioned because we still do see the full tie in here. If she could just blur this just a little bit more, I think that would be better. But this is much improved over what she was doing the last two shows. She does need to cut her hair. Her hair is too long. 100% needs to cut her hair. So either cut or curl so it goes up and over those glutes on top and not hitting them. So, but like I said, overall, much, much better look. She fixed a lot of the things that, like when I did that review of her routine from the Olympia, she fixed a lot of the things I didn't like about that Olympia routine. So really good job. I'm guessing she probably got some feedback like that. And that's why she changed it. So, yeah, much, much better. Much, much better on this particular show. So good job. Good job. All right. So again, my screen share is going slow. Sorry about that, guys. We're going to go on to the next show, which was the Moscow show. This was a very small show. So we're still going to go through the top 5, but you can see there was only 10 here. Everybody was predicting that Ekaterina would take it because she's gotten a couple of second places already this year, but she did not. She came in second. We're going to go through these pictures, but with that said, there's only a handful of photos, and I think Alessia is the only one that actually had a back shot. So we'll look at these pictures real quickly. So we got 5th place. Aisha was actually in Georgia, so I did meet her. So let's take a look at Aisha real quick. I don't think she has a full back shot. So the other thing about these photos is they're very shadowed. The lighting, it looks like the lighting's pretty harsh over top of them. So it's hard to judge what we're looking at here. The lighting's coming down from above. And the reason why you can see that is because it's completely blurring her lat spread here. Like you can't, she has a lat spread going out. You can't see it because of the shadows. And then we're seeing a lot of shadows down here, like under her quad teardrops. This makes her look very, very hard. Like she's really conditioned through the legs and everything. And I don't necessarily think that that's the case in real life. And then she looks really soft up on top, again, because she's got those hard lights coming right straight down on top of her. So I don't think that these photos are very true to what we actually would have seen if we were there in person. So I don't want to get too critical of them on this because, I mean, frankly, the lighting plays a big difference. But a couple of things I would say is I would open this pose up a little bit more. Maybe she did. Maybe this is transitional. Again, we don't have a lot of photos from this show, so she might not be fully posed here. The suit top is too small. The suit top is definitely too small here, so I would go with a bigger suit top. Suit bottoms look okay. I don't know if we have another shot that's better of her because we just don't have very many pictures at this show. Yeah, that last one isn't even better. So I'm guessing this is her fully posed because we've got her in this position twice. So I would open up this pose a little bit more, stand a little bit taller, pull the chest up a little higher, open this up so we don't block off the glute line here. Something else that's popping out at me is her toes hanging over the edges of her shoes. Guys, if this happens, get yourself some gel pads to stick into your shoes so that your feet stay inside of your shoes. Okay, this to me was really distracting. Trust me, I know the feeling because I have very long toes. As you can see, I've got long fingers. I was always told I had piano fingers, so I have very long fingers. I have very long toes. So it's something I always pay attention to. Make sure that you get pads for your shoes so that your feet stay inside your shoes and we don't hang over the edge. We don't have a back shot of her, unfortunately, so I have no way of saying what she looked like from the back. I will, once we get through these top 5, I will look at see if there's comparisons. Let me see. There are comparisons. So let's take a look real quick if there's anything decent. I mean, kind of. We'll pull those up at the end. Okay, we'll pull those up at the end. So next is Liana. Let's see. She's pretty much in her front pose here. So this front pose needs some work. She needs to stand up taller. She's bent over in the front. It looks like she's trying to show upper glute here. And in the process, she's kind of bending forward. So she needs to just stand up tall. I think her pose is the reason why her shoulders don't look so great. I think that her shoulders are probably a bit rounder than what we're seeing here, but because she's bent over, we don't see that much. Now, again, because the lighting is so hard coming down this way, we are seeing a lot of shadowing, but that's really accentuating the fact that she's got this rib cage poking out right here. So if she was to stand up a little taller, that would close off this rib cage and make her tighter through the waistline. I feel like her conditioning is okay. Again, the lighting's really rough in this show, so I can't really tell, but that's what I would say. I think her conditioning is decent. She just needs to fix this front pose. And I don't think we have a back pose for her. Kind of. Man, this lighting is rough in this show, guys. Lighting makes such a huge difference. Okay, so from the back, she needs more upper outer glute for sure. Conditioning needs to be a little bit tighter. Again, this could be the lighting coming down. This could be making her look softer because, again, we've got that overhead light hitting you. But she absolutely needs more upper outer glute here. Upper body looks okay in this pose. I would relax the arms a little bit. I just really kind of would like to see more size. Just in general, more size from the back. And then we have Alessia, who came in third. Pretty much what I expected to see with Alessia. We've talked about her a lot the last few months. She's been competing back to back to back to back. Obviously trying to win again. She's just not nailing anything with her posing, her conditioning, her overall look. So this conditioning is too hard. She's posing really straight on right now. She's not even in the box. I wonder if she's doing that on purpose because of the light. That might be an on purpose kind of thing. I don't know. And she may not be fully in her pose. So again, I don't want to judge her too harshly on this because, again, we only got a handful of pictures. So she may not be fully in her pose here. But she's just too hard. Her conditioning is too hard. She's gotten too blocky. I'm not mad at the suit. I think the suit top just needs to be adjusted a little bit. I think she scrunched it too small. If she opens it up and spreads it out a little bit, I think it would look better on her. I do like the little bit of wave in her hair. I think that's pretty. I would continue to do that. But we're just seeing like a lot of like graininess in her legs and her calves and things like that. She's definitely too hard. We have a back shot. I don't think we do. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, she's got some rods going through her hamstrings right here, really, really tight. She's standing up tall too, so that tells you just how tight her conditioning actually is. She put the wave in the front of her hair, but not the back. So I would continue to put the wave in the back of her hair. But in general, like I said, conditioning's over the top. Conditioning's just over the top here. Needs to work on that. Okay. So Katarina was in second, not first, which is what most people assumed. We don't have a full back pose for her. This looks like this is a full front pose for her. So let's pull that up. Don't like this suit at all. That stoning pattern just makes it look really cheap, just gonna be honest. She definitely needs to work on her wig as well. You can really tell this is a wig. So I just like to see something that looks a little bit more natural on her. This just looks like it was thrown on her head. So get somebody to style it for you a little bit. These things matter when you're at this level. She's got a little bit of tanning issue. Looks like she's got some drips down her leg here. Don't want to. I think her conditioning is good. The lighting is just throwing me off for this particular show. It makes them all look softer on top and harder on the bottom. I think her conditioning is pretty decent here. We're not seeing a lot of graininess in her legs or anything like that. So I do think this is a pretty good look for her. Shape, conditioning, all of that. I just don't like the details. I don't like the suit and I don't like the wig. We don't have a full back shot, so I don't want to critique too much on the back because we don't have it. This is the closest thing that we've got to a back shot. She is in transition, which does tell you a little bit of something too. So if we've got a transition shot, that means that the judges saw her like this. Again, this is why I don't like this suit. It makes it look really cheap and light on stage with those light colored stones. It's just not a good look. I would say her conditioning is pretty decent here, even without her being pushed into the full back pose. I still think she's pretty good with her conditioning. Again, I'd like to see a full back pose. So we'll pull up some comparison shots in a second. Okay. Eugenia is the one that won this show. We have a front pose. This looks decent, but I can't really tell because her hair is covering her. All these details, you guys. Conditioning looks pretty decent. She's in shape. We got a little bit of graininess through the legs, but not as much as some of these other girls. A little bit of graininess through the waistline here. Her conditioning probably is a little over the top. I wish her hair was off of her shoulders so I could see a little bit better. Because this looks like a pretty decent front pose, to be honest with you, but I can't really tell with the way that this hair is sitting. I'm going to pull up the comparisons and I'll tell you a little bit more about what I think about all of these girls because I can't tell anything from these individuals. Can't tell a thing. I don't know. So let me pull up a few of these comparison shots and just see if they help me get a better idea. Man, they don't even have any good comparison shots up. Ugh. Killing me. Freaking killing me. Trying to see if there's anything here that's... Well, here's your top four. I guess the top four will work. That light is just so rough. Whew, that light is rough. So it makes everybody on the outsides look shadowy. Like you can see, she looks real shadowy on this outside because you got a light coming right down smack into the middle of the stage. Yeah, looking at this, I mean, they made the right calls as far as the placings are concerned. The only thing that I would say is that Ekaterina here probably needed to be a little darker on her tan. I think that the suit probably hurt her in person too. Probably made her look a little bit lighter than she actually was. I feel like she's pushing weight onto her back foot. She needs to sit her weight onto her front foot. Alessia is definitely very blocky here. And this girl, like I said, with her front pose, she needs to stand up. She's bent over. Um, Man, these pictures are rough, you guys. These pictures are rough, 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 rough. Okay, so here's a back shot. Okay. Let's see. So I don't see Ekaterina's feet being too close. I think her feet are fine in this back pose. I think she needs to arch a little bit more because what we're not seeing that upper outer glute. But I'm guessing she didn't arch anymore because maybe that made her look too hard to the hamstrings. I don't really know. She needs to fix the pose, not her feet though. I think her feet are fine. I think it's a matter of arching more. And when we look at Eugenia, who won it, I mean, she's arching more, and you've got more pop on that upper outer glute. That's why she won it, I would guess. Lassie is way too hard. This girl over here, she's in mostly shadows, so I don't want to give her too much flack over here, but she just needs some more pop and density to her glutes. And right here, those glutes are very, very overpowering in comparison. So I don't know. I mean, I think with Ekaterina, most of it is her presentation, her posing. I don't think her feet are too close. I think her feet are fine. I just don't think she's arched enough. I think that hurt her because she doesn't have that upper outer glute pop. So I think that's the main thing. I think it's the upper outer glute pop more than anything else. And I think she needed to be darker on her tan. Now I say that with the caveat of she is in the center box here, and that's where the light is the hardest. So she may have actually been darker and the light's just washing her out. That's definitely possible. But they would have moved her out and put somebody else in that position. And they would have looked just as light as her if they did that. So unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of photos to go on, so we just got to make some educated guesses here. But that's my 2 cents on that particular show. So we do have 4 shows coming up this coming weekend, and I'm just going to go through them really quickly because, again, we don't have a ton of competitors in any of them, and most of them don't have like big names or anything like that. So I just want to point out a few of them so that you guys can see them and be aware. As we go through these shows as well, go ahead and shout somebody out if you see somebody that we should include. So this is Everest Muscle Games, which I believe is Poland, right? This is Poland. Yeah. So this is Poland. This is our biggest one of the weekend. And I believe it's going to come down to probably Adriana right here, Adriana and Anna. So Anna came and did a show here in the U.S. It was the Georgia one. She was super hard. She was just as hard at the Olympia. So unless she softens up, I don't see her taking the title here. Adriana to me is probably your best bet. I thought she looked great at the Olympia. So that's my thought process. Who else do you guys have for this particular show? Just Feeney, we talked about her. Who's another one on here? I mean, I do recognize some of these names. I'll be honest, I didn't have time to go through and look up everybody. So if you see somebody on this list that you want to shout out and say, pay attention to this person, please do. But if I had to guess, it's going to come down to, like I said, Adriana and Anna, and I would give the edge to Adriana for sure. Go ahead and take your shot if there's somebody else there that you wanted to shout out. And we have the Evictus Pro also, which clearly we have Ashley Kaltwasser doing this one. So she would be your front runner. We just talked about Ekaterina, so I guess she's probably going to be towards the top there, second, third, that sort of thing. Anybody else in here that you see that you want to shout out, feel free to do so. But I think this one is probably wrapped up with Ashley. Just saying. Just came in second in the world. I think she's probably got this. Just saying, right? And then last, I didn't bring up all the shows. I brought up 3 of the shows because these ones have names that I recognize anyway. All right, so this is the Invictus Pro. Oh no, I just talked about that one. Where's the one that I pulled up? This one, also contest Vietnam. Vietnam, that's what I wanted. Not Invictus. We just did that one. Let's see. Here it is. Okay, so Vietnam. I think we'll go to Natalia. Natalia is 3-4-time Olympian, that kind of thing. Zhenxi Chen, I think she's been doing Zion Chen. Sorry, pronouncing these names wrong. I think she's been doing pretty decent too. But if I was betting, I would say Natalia. Anybody else want to shout out any competitors that I missed that may have a shot at the title here? I actually really like Natalia's look a lot. I think she gets overlooked quite a bit. She's one of the girls that I pay attention to because I think she's got a very pretty look. Anybody else want to throw anything into the hat here? I know it's harder to wrap up and it's harder to preview shows that are not in the US. And the main thing for that is just the lack of media coverage. So, we do our best. I do want to start, like I said, highlighting some of these girls because they are coming to the US now and all of that. So, we're starting to get to know some of the European competitors. A few of the Asian competitors are doing decent now when they come to the States, that kind of thing. But, really we see it. If they don't come here and compete here in the US, we don't know a whole lot about them. We don't have a whole lot of coverage on them. We don't have a lot of stats to pull, all those kinds of things. So it's hard to review. It's hard to preview these girls. But hopefully if they're doing decent, like in their countries and stuff, that they'll come here as well. So anything else anybody wanted to say for this particular live feed? We are going to shoot it behind the bikini tomorrow. Jordan is actually in Europe on vacation, so I'm going to bring on one of my own training clients, and we're going to talk a little bit tomorrow for behind the bikini. So you'll have a new behind the bikini to watch. The last one that I did for highlighting individuals in the Olympia had a ton of fantastic engagement. So thank you guys. I really appreciate that. I am going to be starting a new segment on my YouTube channel as well. So if you have not subscribed and turned on notifications, please do, because I'm going to start giving out fitness tips, diet, training, nutrition, all of the fun things. So if you ever have any questions, and they don't have to be related to competing, just in general with health and fitness, feel free to shoot them over, because that's what this new segment is going to be all about. And I've got some fun little twists to do with it. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It kind of goes into some of the stuff that I'm already known for and already passionate about and already have fun with. So it's going to be fun. I've already got the whole like shtick put together. So we're going to be shooting the first one this weekend. So you guys will have to let me know what you think and give me ideas and stuff so that I can grow this next segment of the channel. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I want your input a lot, because I'm growing it out of my head right now. And the only way it's gonna get any better is input from you. So feel free, like I said, to shoot me over questions that you'd like me to answer. Just, anything. If it has to do with macros or training or whatever you want to do. It's gonna be a fun time. So with that, you guys, it's going to be a fun weekend. I hope you guys have a safe and happy Halloween. If you're going trick-or-treating, be careful. If you're going to like haunted houses or something like that, be careful. I'm going to go to a late night movie and scary movie. So When I watch Smile 2, if anybody's seen it, don't tell me anything about it. I have not seen Smile 1. I'm watching that tonight. That's on my list tonight so that I'm at least caught up and know what's going on. And that's it. And if you want to work with me, like I said, Sean's Couture Cuties is my website. So seanscouturecuties.com. That's the website right up and over here. And if you want to work with me as far as coaching, you can do that through Fit Body Fusion. You can ask for me and do a consultation with me. Okay. Hope you guys have a fantastic evening, and we will be back.